Hey, love bugs, it's Roslynn. Back at you one more again. I'm not about to do my daggone intro for this because it's a totally different content. So I'm not about to do that. But y'all, I told y'all in the last video, as I'm gonna try and do some different content for my channel. Interested in, I embrace my light side, but now it's time for me to embrace my dark side. You can't have one without the other. Like I told y'all in the last video, I said I was going to start new content up by talking about different crime stories, whether or different movies that have been really intriguing to me that you may find interest in it, or different criminal backstories that I really feel like they should make it out of a movie. I don't feel like this is anything that's entertainment purposes, because nobody losing their life is entertaining to me. Well, there's some people that feel like that's entertaining, but not to me. But it's just for educational purposes, just for you to get the POV side of me, and you can give me your insight about these different things that I'm going to do. I've watched so many different criminal channels that does different backstories that I truly enjoy. It's just like I've always been like that since I was younger. I've always watched horror movies since I was I think it was like 7 or 8 years old. I know the first movie that I've ever watched that was a horror movie was called Demons, and this is when we were when we were living in Germany, and where was it? Frankfurt and Schweinfurt, Germany. I lived there for like 8 years, so I used to always watch this with my mom's ex-husband. So ever since then, I've always had a deep interest for mystery, thrillers, and just horror movies. I always like them. They always say a lot of the empaths really, I don't know what it is about us, we're fascinated with death in some kind of way. But there's these two crime stories that really gave me a WTF moment, that just really was a jaw dropper for me, that I would really see how they will make it out as a movie if they really were to try to make it as a movie. I will be talking about the crime story from Paris Bennett from Abilene, Texas. You may have heard about that situation, as well as Pazuzu, what is his name? Alagard. His name was John Alexander. And I will be talking about that, and different things that I was talking about from different movies that you may have backstories on that you may have not known about. So I'll be having those throughout this different content that I will be choosing to do now. I still will be doing my my empath and spiritual beings Heyoka videos, but I also will be doing different ones about murder mystery movies and mayhem. So that's what I called it. So I'm going to be doing different content back and forth, just to be able to do something different, step out the comfort zone. Like I was telling you, you should always do something and try something different. You never know where it's going to take you. But this one is about, it took place with Paris Bennett, where was it? Abilene, Texas, back in February 5th of 2007. I really found this case very mind blowing. I feel for the mom. She was Charity Lee. She grew up, she was in the upper class, growing up, upbringing, but her mom was not really nurturing to her. She always said Charity has a thing about, always, she doesn't understand I have a life. And I was just like, I'm a mother of 3. When you have children, your life ends. It's all about your kids. Even though you want to have a life, you still have children. You have to think of their priorities first. So this one has been married like 7, 8 times. And just in and out of life. And then Charity went down the road of being a drug user of heroin, which she has been over 12 years clean. When she found out she was pregnant with Paris, she got clean. It was just like she wanted to be able to give her son everything that she wasn't able to do, able to experience growing up. I can totally understand with that. You just want to think about how people's minds work. It can go totally good and it can go totally bad. And it was just a part of this story, all of it is just, I feel for the mom, and it was just like a jaw dropper, because Paris was, she gave that boy everything. She loved him with all her heart. She really wanted to just, just give him everything that she wasn't able to have as a a child growing up, because she know what it felt like to not have that parental guidance, or that nurture of what you should get when you have a parent. So it was just like, she said that Paris was her blessing. He helped her get clean. She didn't use drugs, anything after that. But there was a time that when Paris was like about 12 and a half, 13, not 12 and a half, 13. No, he was 8 years old at the time. And she found out she was pregnant, and it's just like, I know with my daughters, I have 3 girls and they're all 3 years apart. They're steps, they're steppers, as they call it. And, there's always sibling rivalry, but with his, it was on a totally different level. And this boy had an IQ of 141. Very, very smart child. She just kept them all up into different things or whatever. But when she was pregnant, he never wanted to have anything to do with it. He was just like, he was mad at his mom. He couldn't believe that, she was pregnant with somebody else, and, another child or whatever. And, if it's just you being that child at that, that every given moment, and then, a next one's coming in, it takes attention from you. So sometimes kids can handle that and sometimes kids can't. But as soon as Ella was born, he was just like, Mom, she's just so beautiful. And then she was just so happy. It's like, yes, Paris is actually going to, be the big brother that I really wanted him to be, for, Ella. So it was just like, anytime you would see, it's just like different videos that I've seen of Paris. If you didn't see, Paris, you didn't see Ella at the same time. If you've seen Ella, you've seen him. She's like, that's her hero, that's her brother, he's her protector. All these good things. And you would see them, and it's just so loving when you've seen him and Ella in all these different home videos that he put up, that Charity put up for her and her kids. So the next thing with the situation, it was like Charity was working, I guess it was like Super Bowl or whatever, Super Bowl night, working at Buffalo Wild Wings. I can't even say that right. Where it was just bust. I used to work at different bars and stuff like that where it had restaurants, and I love those types because it's like tips galore. That's where your money makers are, especially when you have the big parties. But it was very hectic for her. She was very tired. And the next, a whole bunch of police come in, and, and they were just trying to tell her, there was an accident. We need you to come down to the police station. She's like, what's going on? And the next thing it's just like, Ella got hurt. And it was just like, okay, take me to Ella. Where's Paris at? All these different questions that a parent would ask, like, what's going on? And then the next thing he's like, well, take me to Ella. And he was like, no, I can't take you to Ella. Ella's dead. And I was just like, well, damn, how you, there's really no good way of telling, that your child is dead. And with this going on, there was a 911 call, which I'm not going to be putting stuff like that in my videos. I can't deal with it. I said, I'm not going to deal with that. It was just like, he called the 911 and told, that he stabbed his sister. He thought she was a demon. And they kept on asking, can you put her on CPR? Where is she at? She's laying on the bed, put her on the floor. And it's just like, give her CPR. And he was like, I can't. She's gone. And the operator, I give so much props to that operator because she was so calm, and just tell him, Paris, please try to give her CPR. And then he's doing it. He's like 1 and 2, he's just crying and doing this and this and that, and trying to administer CPR on his sister. And I'm thinking, like, where the heck is the babysitter? I'm supposed to have a babysitter. This boy convinced the babysitter to go ahead and leave. I don't know what she said, but that was probably when time I was zoned out. I said no, because the mom paid me to stay here until she gets off. I'm gonna stay here. I don't care what you say, because I would have called and checked with the mom and made sure it was okay before I leave. But something happened. Everything happens for a reason. So she went ahead and left. Next thing you know, when they finally got over there, and they were like, she's trying to get it in her mind, what happened to, Ella, who did this? And just like, Paris killed Ella. And then they were like, There's something she has to process, because she's like, every time she's seen Paris with Ella, they were so loving. They were, they never got into fights. Everything they did it in unison together. So she's really trying to understand what the heck happened to this boy between now and this time right here. So when they're going through all that, they put this little boy in jail and stuff like that. And come to find out, during the 911, he told you hear him just crying in the background, like, I can't believe I did this to my sister. She turned into a demon, this and this and that. And next thing you know, come to find out, he was faking the whole time. He's just walking around the room, just 1, 2. He didn't even administer that on his sister. He just put her on the floor face down and walked around her. Did not try to save her at all, because whatever he did to her, he made sure she wasn't coming back. But all the backstory is he was one of those type of people that like snuff films, or torture, the BDSM, the Satanism, torture stuff. And he wanted to live out his fantasies with the sister. So come to find out, he did some things with the sister, and he had to cover that up. So when the mom is trying to, I mean, with me being a mother, I really don't know, what I would do if my child just done killed my other child. I don't know how, because it's like when you watch these crime shows, you really try to understand, what you would do if you were in that situation. I really wouldn't know, because it's like both of them are something that's a part of you. But it's in a situation like that, and it's just from what I've seen in the interviews, because they have a Netflix docuseries. I really would love to see that as a movie. But when she kept coming in, he snapped on her, and she kept on wanting to see Paris. And she's like, I really want to understand what made you do this. He was just like, you never got it. I've been like this the whole time. You just didn't realize I was like this the whole time. I couldn't stand Ella. I hated Ella. I wanted her dead. But he was actually, but the way that the story was going, it made me, in my opinion, that he wanted to kill his mom. But the way he was in that hatred because she had another child is the fact is that she got another child, but he wanted to torture her. But he knew killing her would be too final. But he wanted her to suffer. And for her to suffer, he had to kill the sister. And he put it in there, like every time she tried to come see him, and it was just like, I love to see you suffer. I love to see that you're in pain. And she had to really forgive her son for that. I was just like, baby, I don't know if I could be able to do that. I don't know. It's just like, you're supposed to love your kids unconditionally. But to me, in my opinion, I don't think I would have been able to do that. I really don't. But the psychiatrist said he's a sociopath. He's narcissistic. And the way that boy, it makes your skin crawl when you see him, especially if you're an empath. You get those type of vibes. Like, I wouldn't even, that's just like me trusting Casey Anthony at a daycare. There is no way I want to be in there and end up sitting in a room with you. That boy, you can tell he's very smart, but he's very dark at the same time. And it's just like, when you have smarts like that and you're telling me you're a sociopath, and I mean, there's sociopaths that's out there that just really don't do stuff like that, because they say there's some out there that's just like, I'm just like anybody else. But I try not to judge. I really try not to judge. But there are some people that don't have that lack of empathy, because the interviewers asked him, what do you feel about love? When you're a sociopath, you can't say, okay, I love my mom, I love my dad, I love my sister, my brother, my cat, my dog, my pet hamster. He could not fathom the word or frequency of that vibration of love. But then when they asked him a few questions down the line, how you feel about Ella? Oh, that I love her with every fiber of my being. Even the mom even asked, if you wanted to kill something, why don't you just kill an animal or something like that? He's like, but I love my animals. I'm like, so damn, you didn't even love the sister. It's just like going through all that. But he told her, this is what torture. I wanted to make you suffer because you brought this girl into our lives. You didn't have to do that. So when he's done all these different things, they try to do all these different tests on him. He doesn't want them tested. I said, because he don't want you to know what's wrong with him. And I said, when you see somebody like that, you may think, okay, they have some kind of mental imbalance or something like that. But that boy knows something about him that he don't want nobody else to know, because he won't allow nobody to do MRIs on him or nothing like that, because this boy, it just seemed like he's already dark anyway. It's just like some people choose to be that way, like they just want to wreak havoc on anybody's lives. And for that, I always feel like certain murders you hear about, and there's so many of them that are out there, a lot of times they serve a powerful purpose after the fact. And she made a nonprofit organization for Ella, and it's in the members of her name. It's called Empathy, Love, Lesson, and Action. I said, oh wow, that's beautiful. And I really would love to be able to see that in a movie. Give me your opinion about that. It's just like when I read about the situation and when I heard it, I was just like, I've never heard something so dark in my life that those type of people are out there, and that's what the serious situation is. There are people that are actually out there that's willing to make you suffer like that, and it was just the fact is just to see him with his sister, you would have never thought that he did all those different things. But he told his mom he's always been like this. But the catcher is where people gave her a lot of negative feedback is she had another son named Phoenix. And Paris is writing back and forth to his brother saying, oh, I love him so much. The police and the psychiatrist and all of them told them, stop coming up here to see him. All that money that you got right now, you need to go ahead and move, get a whole new different identity, because he comes eligible for parole in 2027. And they told her, you need to be gone. You need to be gone, because number one, that boy would never found out I had another kid on top of that, but he's always sending him these letters. And I said, if he gets out and he finds out where you are, he'll probably try to take this kid too. You need to not tell this boy nothing else about you and your new life that you got going on. But they said she moved and, she went on to another different place. But that one right there is a jaw dropper for me. So let me know how you feel about this case. I've heard about it a few times. I think I heard about it when Christina was talking about it. Christina Randall, and that's where I got it from. And then I seen different parts of it where they put the snippet on Netflix. But that, I really feel like that would really be a movie. They should really make it out of a movie. Now, the next one I'm talking about is John Alexander. He's the one who has changed his name. Well, did change his name to Pazuzu Alagard. He was a Satanist. He put Buddhism with Satanism. He was born in Sacramento, California, on August 12th, 1978. And they moved to North Carolina. I think it was in Charlotte. I can't remember, but I know that his prison stuff was all in Raleigh, North Carolina. North Carolina, not South Carolina. Sorry about that, y'all. Reading about that and watching that one, it was like the House of Horrors. He's always used to make these things up in school. They always call him Boo Boo Boy because he didn't wash himself. He didn't brush his teeth or whatever like that. They always used to call him Boo Boo Boy. He really stank all the time. So he was always teased in school. He didn't really like going to school. They said this boy was drinking at while he was in the second grade. He was drinking. The mom was like having guys in and out the house, and this boy really got through stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if he was not molested, because this, like the way you hear the story that has taken place, is that he's probably been touched. I would not be surprised. All those things happen, but when him what's his mom's name? When his mom, I forgot her name, sorry about that, y'all, but her and her husband divorced, so she decided to move down to Raleigh, North Carolina, South Carolina, and to end up getting married to somebody else. And they were living in that house for a while. And I guess whatever was going on, it was just so abusive. He stopped going to school. He dropped out. He decided to change his name to Pazuzu. Only time I heard about that name was on what was it? The Exorcist of The Exorcist with Reagan O'Neill, and that was it's a one of them demon things. I don't like to present all those different things that's going on because I'm not trying to conjure up anything. But I guess it was just his way of being, the attention giving off to him. But it was so crazy about these situations. There were so many people that were reporting him because he would brag about how he had people in the house, because it's like you can step to the front porch and that funk will just hit you. It would be people using the bathroom in different corners. You see different carcasses all over the place. There will be so many different people that were on drugs running in and out of the house. And he's like, you can pee anywhere. He had two girls that was with him that he called his wives. And, there's so many different people that were going on. It's like, look, you need to investigate their house. But it's just like if somebody, it was like the police would just go to the door and just say something and then just leave. They wouldn't go investigate anything at all. But then it was this guy, I'm not going to mention any names because it's the deceased, on a different case. So they were out at this lake or pond, wherever they were doing their little practices. And they went ahead and the boy just so happened to got killed by one of his friends, and he just so happened to be there. They only gave him probation. So when they gave him probation, I'm just like, but he's there. How are y'all doing that? Because most of the crimes, if you're there, you're guilt by association. You're going to jail. So a lot of people are like, oh, he did the devil worshiping thing, so he didn't have to go to jail. So, the neighbors was complaining about him, talking about there's always something going on over there. The mom, because I was wondering, I says, the mom still living there and still got all this going on. And it was like, no, that I guess she moved in with her new husband, but she left the house to him, and she would go over there and check on him. And there'll be times where, they'll get into it and he'll start choking his mom out. And you're just really trying to understand what is going on here. Why are you allowing him to be in your house and tearing his house up? Because when you see the house, it's just bad. So after a long time where these things keep happening, what makes it so bad, it was two people that came up missing and they just didn't know what was going on. But then there was certain people that were in and out of the house that were druggies that they called, said, hey, this guy, I seen this guy that you have on the news. He was at that house. You really need to go check on that. And he was doing all these different things. By this time he was still sleeping around. They said that he was able to get any kind of woman that he wanted, that he had all these ladies that he can just woo. And I'm just like, when you see him, he was a very attractive guy growing up, but when you see him, that'd be something I wouldn't even want to walk past the store. And and he would see different people. There was one person I seen that was in the comment section saying she ran into him because he used to come to the grocery store where they used to stay at, and the boy just gave off just vibes and was just really bad. They say he never brushed his teeth. He only brushed his teeth once a year, only washed his butt once a year. I'm just trying to figure out, how are you able to play with females and you ain't doing all these different things? He said he shaved his teeth down. The girls that he was dealing with shaved their teeth down, and they're looking like fangs and stuff like that. And it was just really crazy. He put all these tattoos on his face. And it got to that point where there was so many different things popping off in and out of this house. The police finally came over there, and it's just like, they had to put on all these hazmat suits, and they still had to put stuff up under their nose, and they still couldn't go in that house without getting sick. Because it's like, even with the interviewer that was going on, the police is like, God dang, what the hell is it? Is the smell coming from out here? It's like, no, it's still in the house. So they found a couple of bodies, dug up. They said that there was there, and the two guys that they had found up in there is the one that been missing for like 4 or 5 years. So when they finally caught up to him, he was supposed to have life in prison. He was going to die there. The two girls that were caught up with him, the one that he called his wives, they were all put in jail too. The one girl that was in there, she got like about 4 or 5 years, so you already know she done snitched. And the other one, she was in there for a minute. When they went into jail, they were all skinny, and come out, they done blew up. So you already know they were stressed out and stuff like that from all that. But when they finally took John, Pazuzu, whatever you want to call him, to prison. It was really getting to him. You see him, he was like in the Muslim hats and stuff like that, and, trying to make his name out in there. It's like even when his mom would read the letters from him, you can tell that there was something wrong with her because she's laughing when he said he committed all these murders. And you would hear her laughing while she's talking about this. She was like, oh, he's just, he's talking about how he done murdered somebody. And I'm looking like, and that's funny, and I'm just like, nah, I see why your son is like this. He touched and you're touched too. So when there will be different times to where he would self-harm himself. They're really trying to understand, we didn't give him anything for him to come in here. We're looking all over the rooms because if you see these prison documentaries, they get these shakedowns, so they're trying to make sure everything is out of that room. But by October 28th of 2015, they went into his room and they seen where he really tore up his arm. I got to use special words for these type of videos. He really tore up his arm and he bled out. The boy died, and I was just like, when I'm going to use this picture on the thumbnail. It's like when you read about all the different things that went on, they call this the House of Horrors. Thank God recently, after all these things was coming up, because this was a nice house, but it's like when you went in there, it was just like, it was bad. It was really bad. They finally tore that house down. There was so many people celebrating after that because it blew their mind. All these things was taking place in the house, but they were not surprised because there was always something going on over there. It was heavy activity. So he killed himself. The people that he has killed, they had children. So it was just like a very hard on, the children, trying to understand what took place and all these different things. And, especially it's bad and sad at the same time. It's like when you see a loved one and y'all are getting into it and you just separate and like, hey, I'm going to take a walk or whatever. And next thing you know, they're not coming back anymore. That has to take a lot on a person too, because that last time I saw them, I forgot what the guy's name. Well, I already said I was not going to mention his name. I'm just going to have respect for, these people like that. The only reason why I mentioned it with Paris, because that was his sister. And that's still a messed up situation as well. But I would really love to be able to see these two into like some kind of, mystery type movies. It's very messed up how anybody's life can be taken so short. It's just it blows my mind how sometimes the judicial system can be, the cop situations. I have some friends that were cops at a time, and I always say that, even though I've had run-ins with different cops on how I was treated, currently about my situation with my father, I had my choice of words as well, but they also have good cops out there at the same time. They really do truly do their job. But it's just like certain situations I just don't understand. If you have multiple people saying the same thing that's coming back and telling you to search something, it takes you up to 5 or 6 years to do that. You need to get on your job. So I hope you were able to enjoy that. This is my first video doing different crime story backstories and stuff like that, where I really feel like they should make it into movies. My regards to Charity Lee as well as Ella that's going on. It is really messed up, but it's just like a lot of times when things like this happen, it's always served for a higher purpose. And sometimes it's hard to see that until it actually something can come out that's very positive about a tragic situation. So like and subscribe, let me know if you have any of your opinions about this, y'all. Please don't give no negative ones. If you don't got nothing nice to say, just go. I love to be able to do different things like this, talk more about, different movies that I like, that you may find interested in. There's so many different movies that I want to see. They have a new one that's supposed to be, I didn't want to see any more Saw Saga movies, but they have a different one with Chris Rock and Samuel L. Jackson as two of my funniest, great actors. And they're coming out with a new movie called Spiral. Jordan Peele is remaking the Candyman movie, which I'm really ready to see. But there's a lot of them since the COVID situation. They're putting on mainstream, where you can probably see some on YouTube, or there's different social media sites, different movie sites that they're actually showing some of the movies that's supposed to come out. I know I just watched this one called Come Play. It was about like an empath movie. It was very, very good. If you ever check it out, please watch that. And the one with the guy, Omari, I can't remember his last name, but he plays Ghost on Power. And it was a movie about it was called Spell. It was like somewhere around here in Alabama or Georgia somewhere. And it had something to do with voodoo, which was very good. That movie had me just shook and straight shocked. So, let me know if you have any suggestions. Let me know if you've heard anything about these backstories about Paris Bennett or Pazuzu a la Alagard, and let me know what you feel about that. And I'll see you on my next video. Drop a line, share, tell somebody about the channel, and I hope you have a blessed week. Like I said, it's just very crazy doing these different things, but I love to be able to do something a little different every once in a while. But I'll see you on the next video. Much love. Peace.